Now, I just want to tell you a story. You know, I've been on a journey for a long, 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 long time. I had ups and downs. I had miserable times, crying days, depressed days. Even sometimes I had committed suicidal thoughts in my life. Yes, that has been me. But something happened. Over 2 years ago, you know, I was about 35 years old. Yeah, about 35. I was sitting in the park. Only thing I had was my clothes and a TV. And that's it. That's all I had in that apartment. I had no dishes, no couch, nothing. And that's all I had. You know, sorry if I get too happy, you know, get too passionate about this, because I lived this. I've been through this. So if I get too hyped, just raise your hand up and I come down, okay? But I sat there on the floor watching TV, 35 years old. And I thought to myself, I am nothing because I have nothing. I don't have nothing to bank. Only thing I have is a TV and some clothes. And that's how I was thinking at that moment. I'm nothing. A 35-year-old man, and look where I'm at, on the floor, watching TV. And that's how I was thinking. I went to sleep that night, and I woke up. And I thought to myself, it has to be something better than this. It has to be. So at that moment, I decide. And everything starts with a decision. If you want to be something in life, if you have a goal, you have to decide. If you never decide, what's you getting up and going out towards your goal? So I decided at that moment, I am going to do something with my life. And remember, it's never too late to change your life. It's never. So when I decided, it's so funny how things start to happen. When you really decide, doors start to open. All of a sudden, people who were put in your life to help you out was put there at the right time. And it's fun. But you have to make that decision, say, hey, I am going to change my life. So I made a difference. So what I want to do right now, I want to share how. But I'm going to start off with a story, The Three Little Pigs. And I know you're thinking, how do Three Little Pigs has to do with this motivation presentation? Let me tell you. Just imagine, Three Little Pigs getting older, and their mom kicked them out the house. All right? Kicked them out the house. Say, y'all getting older, it's time for y'all to grow up and do something with your life. So they all given the opportunity to build a house. All right? Y'all got that? All right? So the first pig decided to build a house with some straws. The second, with sticks. The third one decided, hey, I'm going to put in just a little bit more time to build a brick house. So they all built the house. They always give the opportunity to build a house. But if you think about it, they built the house to be safe because the big bad wolf was around. Think about that story. That they built that. The big bad wolf came. He blew down the first and the second house. But he went to the third house. He couldn't do it. Why? That is the question. The third one decided to put in more time, extra work, to make sure he built the right house to feel safe. You gotta think about that. He put in time. And at the same time, it's a word called safe. When you're really going towards your goal, and you are where you're supposed to be at in life, you're in a safe zone. Like right now, I feel safe. I'm up here, I feel safe. Like I know I'm supposed to be here. I feel safe right now. It don't matter if you're a preacher, a teacher, you're a CEO of a company, it doesn't matter. But when you're in that special position or that special spot in your life, you feel safe. And that was the difference between the first two and the third. But you know one thing I would say about people? People will point fingers at somebody who made it and say, look at him. He think he all that. But they don't realize all the things they have to do to get to that point. All the downs, all the ups and downs to get to that point. That's what they don't realize. And the thing is, no matter what you do in life, what you're trying to get, there will be some struggles and there will be some pain. And some people don't have the ability to deal with that pain because they want to stay where they're at. Now, if you look at the house, there are 3 points. One is a foundation, one is a house, and there's a roof on top. Right now, I'm going to start with the foundation. I have this thing. You got to start off right, you're going to finish right. Right off the bat. You got to start off right. The next thing is, just like Rock would say, you have to face yourself. You know, people, say it's a road, and they got a crack in that road. Some people would decide just to patch it up, But then what they don't realize is that issue that you have on his side is still there. And once that crack, that pouch opened up, guess what happened? That crack get larger. There were some things people don't realize. Another thing you have to do, you got to stop blaming people. If you ever decide, you ever point at somebody, you really point at somebody, guess what? You got 3 fingers pointing right back at you. Hey, I've been through some things, don't get me wrong. I've been a lot of things that happened to me. And I grew up blaming others for my actions. I'm doing this because of the way she treated me. She broke my heart. Look, he called me a bad name. But when I was sitting on that floor, it finally hit me. It's me. It's not them. They living their life happy. It's me. So at that moment, I decided to get a seed and plant it in the ground, hoping that seed would grow. And when that seed started to grow, another thing I had to do, young people in here, there's a lot of big fish in here. CEOs, retired cat people who got their own company. I decided to start to hang around people like that. I got my old friends here, but they're not going where I want to go. Yes, they're still my friends, but I'm not hanging out with them. So I decided I'm going to hang out with some big fish, because I want to live in a big house one day. You got to think about that. And another thing I started doing is, I started to visualize myself as a big fish. So my self-talk started to change. Instead of saying I'm no good, I'll never be nothing like, I'm like, I am somebody. Because the reason why I am somebody is because my why is more than what I thought I was. And that's what keeps me coming. Now you look at the house part. The house is like, to me, you got a bunch of rooms in there. I consider that the rooms are like talent or gifts that have been given to you. Now, yes, some people have a lot of rooms, a lot of gifts, but what if you was that one person only had a studio and you only have one room, but that one room was the blessing that would take you much farther than these people who have many rooms or many gifts. And you was ashamed of that one gift. So I started to think, I thought to myself, what if I had that one gift and I'm not using it? But let me tell you something about blessing and talent. If you don't use it, it just don't stop with you. You ever met somebody who can jump out the gym, run, and you can't do that, and they lazy? And you're like, I wish I had that talent. And they don't use it. But let me tell you what happens. When a blessing comes and hits somebody, and they don't use it, it's don't stop there. It goes to the next person. That's what happens. And you can thought something that you thought of some 10 years ago, and all of a sudden 10 years later, somebody thought of it and did it. You start to like, I thought of that first. So if you're ashamed to use your gift, then to be ashamed to watch somebody else use the gift that was given to you. The next thing I want to talk about is the roof. You ever look at a roof? It goes at an angle of a house. I think the roof is two things. It does two things. All right? It keeps the water, slides the water off when the water hit it, and also it covers so water won't get into it. So I follow two things when it comes to a roof. One, you gotta get ready. You gotta be persistent. The roof persistent keeps the water from getting into your house. Next thing, what I have problems with, you gotta have thick skin. If that roof wasn't thick enough, the water will seep in. Think about that. Yes, you have the foundation. You're starting off right. You're finishing right. Yes, you have the house. You got all these gifts. But if you're not persistent going towards your goal, if you don't have thick skin when people are putting you down, talking about you, stumping you down, and if you don't have that, just go in the corner. Have a pity party. Got to think about that. It was this famous runner. His name was Glenn Cunningham. And I think it was somewhere between 7 and 8. Him and his brother went out, started a fire, but the fire, jumped out, killed his brother, but he almost lost his legs. And he was in the hospital, and I hope I'm telling the story right. And the doctor was on the outside of his room. Doctor telling his mother, we're going to have to amputate your son's legs. They burnt pretty bad. But this 7-year-old, 8-year-old boy, hearing that. And when his mom come walking in, he begged his mom, please, Mom, don't let that happen. Don't let it happen. So his mom went out there and said, no, he want to keep his legs. But not knowing, this little boy had a mentally strong heart and mind. Don't you know he had to start walking again? He first started crawling, and then he went from crawling to maybe holding himself on the wall, shoving. And then he went from that to walking again. But when he started running, he learned that the nerves in his legs don't hurt as much when you run. And guess what? He was one of the best all-time mouthers at that time. Can you imagine if his mother let the doctor amputate his legs, that would ever happen? Because he had in his heart and his mind that he was going to fight. He was persistent. He didn't let people put him down, say, look at your legs. And he fought. Now, think about the 3 little pigs. 2 of them didn't put in the time, but the 3rd one decided, I am going to be safe. So he decided, I'm going to put in time, I'm going to put in the extra work to make this house a safe zone. So I hope you got something from this, and God bless.